are some common misconceptions about Occupy?
They assume we're dirty, hippie, liberal, communist scum. The communists that are trying to take over the nation. They tell us in the Clarion Ledger, they said that this is a Marxist training camp, that this was not spontaneous, that we are training young Marxists. And I think people don't really understand what they're talking about.
Are you a Marxist?
I'm not, actually. I am nonpartisan. I believe that I'll start worrying about the government when the government starts doing what it's supposed to be doing.
It's just basically a recognition that there are a lot of people hurting in America, and the trickle-down economics that they say would benefit the 99% of us is not. The money is not trickling back down to the rest of the public.
The beginning was me and my girlfriend going to D.C. Ran into a lot of people from the Occupy D.C. movement, and we were already interested in doing something here. Came back, contacted a few people around here. It just kind of started going on its own, and it's different now than it was. We have new people all the time, but of course it's different because we have a little bit more organizational skills than we did at first, I guess.
And the last thing on here is an open forum, and what we do is at the end of every General Assembly, we leave the floor open for anyone to speak. Well, during the assembly, we usually do this thing called People's Mic, which allows us to speak without needing a PA system. So I can say something in 5 or 6 words, and then everyone else repeats me.
It's more like I can disagree with you, but we'll just sit up here and just talk about something else that we don't disagree about. And everybody gets off in their little teams or whatever and screams and hollers at each other. And the media just perpetuates that, and then it's this big for-profit scheme that keeps everybody pissed off and voting for the wrong people all the time, and nothing ever gets done.
When corruption becomes a norm, then you really don't know who to blame for what. I think each party has the two major parties, because they're not the only two parties, but the two major parties, the Democratic Party and the Republican Party, both have to share some of the responsibility for what's going on in the country.
For me, it's about taking the government back for the people. We're not against the rich, we're not against the wealthy, we're not even out here, a lot of us, for, say, redistribution of wealth. There are people that want that, but that's not necessarily what we're about out here. We're angry at the people in the government who are taking bribes, basically, because campaign donations are bribes. Lobbyists are bribing our government to vote the way that they want them to vote. If they weren't, we'd have a lot more progress in places.
I don't have a problem with all corporations. I have a problem with corporations that buy government and by legislation, by their own regulations, because they have more money than any of us combined. That's a problem. That's a problem in any society. If you're a capitalist, you believe in free market principles, well, that's not a free market. It's not a free market if a select few corporations have a total monopoly over all business and all trade and all commerce.
If you could sit down with President Obama, what would be something you would ask him?
Honestly, I don't have any opinion on that. I'd ask him why he's not looking at this movement as anything, why he's not talking about it. Because he's been strangely silent for the most part about it. Which, to be fair, we don't want to be co-opted. It's come out over and over again that that's the biggest threat that we face, is someone stepping in like they did with the Tea Party and taking over our movement and using it for themselves. And we've told everyone who tried to do that to go away. That's the polite way we've said it. It's been a lot more, we're not always the nicest.
What do you think of the Federal Reserve? Just the way they control.
Me personally, I'm kind of still learning about the Federal Reserve. One of the things I've heard is that they can print money at will, which I knew that, I guess the idea of our money actually being backed by something of value has gone out the window. So anytime a dollar bill is printed without anything backing it or having any value, it causes inflation, things of that nature. And if the prices of things are inflated and people aren't making any more money to adjust for cost of living, then you have a wealth, a gap between the wealthy and the poor, and it kind of dissipates the middle class.
This is the hospitality state, but what happens when the police bring the noise? You ready for that?
You know, the fact is that this is the one state they said that this couldn't be done. You know, we've basically proven just by being here a week that if Mississippi can do it, anyone can do it. And if you ever see a map of the occupation, it is massive. Now, there are, like I said, 915 cities, 82 countries or more. And everyone's reacting differently. We've been good with the police so far. We've got police officers that sit up here occasionally, and they're basically up here watching us to make sure that we're okay. Now, we have had cops up here telling us, hey, you can't be here, and then cops that turned around and said we could. It's a really mixed bag of things. Now, we know they don't want us up here. Anytime it comes down to someone in the big building losing a little bit of cash, they kind of get antsy about it.
I mean, just come up here and talk with us, man. We're not just lefties that I mean, I think some of us that are on the left aren't necessarily as crazy as like Fox News might claim that we are. And then for my friends on the left, I don't think that all the Ron Paul people are quite as crazy as you think that they are. So I think we can all kind of find a little bit of a common ground here. And if we can, who cares? Let's just sit around and talk about stuff, you know? Get back to some civility. It's just ridiculous.